We are here to talk about Wishmaster. Is it Wishmaster or The Wishmaster?
I think it's just Wishmaster.
Yeah, it's just Wishmaster. Sorry about that. So this is a, you know what this is? Before we get started, this ties into it. This is a Wes Craven Presents film.
It is.
Can you name off, on IMDb, there are 8 of these bad boys, including this. Can you name, I'm going to play a game with you, can you name the rest of these? I didn't know 2 of them existed.
Of Wes Craven's Presents?
Of Wes Craven Presents movies.
I can't name a single other one.
Oh, I'm sure you can. One of them, I'll give you a hint. Well, 3 of them are directed by Patrick Lussier. One of them stars Gerard Butler and Justine Waddell. Oh wow! I'm surprised you can't get this one. No. It's gonna when I say this, it's gonna bum you out. Is it? Yeah, Dracula 2000.
Oh, I've never seen it.
Oh no!
Sorry, I've never seen it. Is Gerard Butler Dracula in that movie?
Yes. Oh, we should watch that one.
Is it funny?
It's very funny.
I've never seen it.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So then there were 3 of these, and that's what I was talking about with. So there's Dracula 2 Ascension. I did not know Dracula 2 Ascension and Dracula 3 Legacy existed. There were DTV movies directed by Patrick Lussier.
These are sequels to Dracula 2000?
Yes. But they do not star... they all star Jason Scott Lee.
Okay.
But 2 stars Craig Sheffer, of course, and 3 stars Jason Scott Lee and Jason London, who I believe is from Mallrats.
Okay, yeah. One of the London brothers. Isn't there a Dracula 3000? Is that related to these?
There's an Andre 3000.
I think there's a Dracula 3000
Yeah.
that has Coolio, and they fight Dracula in space.
That sounds right, but
I'll look it up.
Yeah, that's not related to these. Okay, so some of the other ones here. Wes Craven Presents Mind Ripper. I have seen this because my local video store had this. And I went, what is this? And I found out. Wes Craven Presents They. Do you remember They?
I do remember They.
Yeah, that was like she's got all these fears and stuff, and they become real.
Yeah.
They was
That's right.
was one of those West things. He didn't have anything to do with it really, but it felt like a West thing where it was a really cool idea that kind of sucked.
Okay, that the execution wasn't the best.
Yeah.
Dracula 3000 stars Coolio, Casper Van Dien, and Udo Kier, so it's probably really worth watching too.
Okay,
just throwing that out there.
Wes Craven Presents Carnival of Souls in 1998.
Oh,
that stars Shawnee Smith.
Yeah. And
then Wes Craven Presents Don't Look Down, which was a TV movie in 1998. Which stars Billy Burke.
Billy Burke, yes.
Yeah.
Star of the Twilight franchise. Yeah. Okay.
A woman tries to get over the death of her sister by taking over an acrophobic group. So.
Yeah, see, I wouldn't have guessed any. I'm not good with that stuff.
Yeah. Well, that's fine because that's kind of the thing is I don't know how much Wes was slapping his name or whoever was producing these things at the time.
If we can get Wes Craven on as a producer.
If he was attached to this idea at some point, or if he knows somebody.
We'll throw Wes a little bit of money to put his name on it.
Patrick Lussier was his editor for a little bit. So, when he started doing those movies, they were...
That kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyway, this is a Wes Craven Presents movie. Willie, do you remember your first experience with watching The Wishmaster?
I do.
Me too.
I do.
This is one of those things. This movie sticks out in my brain, where I was when I watched. It's like the Kennedy assassination for me.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So this would have been... Okay, so I didn't see it until 2004. And I can tell you exactly what happened. And why Wishmaster is a cherished DVD in my collection. Why it will never be... It's one of only a handful of DVDs I will never part with. And there's a reason for it. And I've parted with my other Wishmasters. I had the whole series.
You had the whole series?
Yeah. I just kept my 1 and 2 2-pack.
Did you have them all separate? Or
1 and 2 were together.
Okay.
And then 3 and 4 were separate.
Okay.
Because I loved 1 and 2 enough where I had to, move on to the series. I had just gotten a job at Family Video. I was still in high school. And I had my own money for the first time in really ever. My own money for the first time consistently, like a real paycheck that would come on a regular basis. And so like any smart 18-year-old, I spent said paycheck within like a day and a half of having it every time, right? And I just bought a lot of DVDs.
Yeah.
Because I could buy my own movies now. And I bought a lot of horror movies in particular. Like, that was like my...
You had Family Video. I had, when I started getting money for the first time, my own money, it was the Walmart $5 bin. Look out.
Here we go.
The Walmart $5 bin, yes.
Here we go. So I was in a Walmart, and we did not go to Walmart very often back then. My mom didn't go very often. I don't know why. I don't know if she didn't like it or what, but we didn't go to Walmart very often. And we were in Walmart, and at one of the end caps by the checkout line, there were a bunch of like DVDs in there, bargain DVDs. They weren't in the bin. They were on like an end cap thing.
Yeah.
And one of them was Wishmaster 1 and 2. I said, hell yeah, I'm going to buy that for $5. It's 2 movies. And I bought it. And I don't know. I have this weird soft spot.
Oh, sorry. I was way off. Okay, so you worked at Family Video, but you were in Walmart.
Correct.
So, okay, I thought you were buying these from Family. My bad. Okay, I've corrected myself.
I actually bought this from Walmart.
For the Walmart.
Yeah, it was the 1 and 2 2-pack, and I was like, "This is sweet! I just got 2 movies for $5."
Yeah, that $5 bin was such a treasure.
Yeah, and so I still have it. I have like I said, it's like one of the first DVDs I remember buying with my own money, and then I remember watching them and going, like, I'm not mad that I bought those, but maybe I should like be a little bit more selective about just spending my money on movies.
Right.
I remember thinking that, like, I can't do this all the time. Like, I got to pick and choose. And then I started buying, like, Anchor Bay stuff almost exclusively for a while there, so. Yeah,
that was, Anchor Bay was Anchor Bay was the jam back in our day.
Yeah.
Back in our day, it was, I guess it would be similar to, no, because they would do new movies too, but kind of similar to like a Scream Factory or an Arrow kind of.
There's a couple of my Anchor Bay releases that I won't get rid of. My Anchor Bay Day of the Dead, I won't
yeah, that's really good.
My DVD.
Yes.
I could, because I've got the Blu-ray and it has all the same stuff on it now, but like I can't.
You can't bring yourself to it.
I can't bring myself to do it, dude.
Wasn't it one of the Evil Dead's? One of the Evil Dead releases really good on Anchor. Like, didn't they put together a really good Evil Dead release? I mean,
yes.
There are seriously like a million Evil Dead.
Yeah, and at this point it's probably been duplicated by other people, but yes, there was a very good Evil Dead release. It was, you could get the Book of the Dead version.
Yeah.
Which was like the actual like rubbery gross.
Oh, yeah.
And I had it.
Yes.
For Evil Dead 1. And then my mom let one of her friends borrow it, and I never got it back. It's a heartbreaker, because those things are worth money now.
Didn't it like stink too? Didn't it like smell?
Oh, it smelled horrible. And then they did one for Evil Dead 2 as well. A Book of the Dead.
I think my buddy Davis had the Book of the Dead.
Yeah,
that edition. I remember.
I'm sure by now it would be like crumbling apart.
Yeah.
Yeah. But at the time, dude,
yeah,
I loved it. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that was my first Wishmaster experience.
What did you think when you saw it as a kid?
Oh, that was sweet.
Okay.
That was sweet. I mean, like, I had fun with it. I had a good time with it. It didn't blow me away in any sort of major way, but I remember thinking, like, wow, that was rad. I like the effects. I like the throwback to the slasher sensibilities. We were kind of like, well, let's see, this was 97 when this movie came out, so like, when I saw it was 2004, so it was almost a decade later, and slashers were no bueno in 04. And so this was fun to watch because it was kind of like a slasher blind spot for me. And it came out during that second heyday of slashers when after Scream had come out. So yeah, I enjoyed my time with it for sure, as I did this time. So my story with Wishmaster. Yes.
I rented this as well, and I remember renting it and taking it home, and I'm trying to be sure on which one I rented the VHS. So I would have rented this, because I remember this double feature now, with the second Candyman movie, Farewell to the Flesh. So it would have been Wishmaster and Farewell to the Flesh, I believe. On VHS is what I would have rented on. Both of these.
Candyman 2 is pretty good.
Yeah, Candyman 2 is pretty good. What's funny is I Googled the main actress in this, and apparently she played like Jill's friend on one of the late, like a 6-episode run of Home Improvement. Like later in the show's run. And Candyman 2, of course, stars the dude from, he's like, I can't remember if he's Tim's brother on Home Improvement or like Al's brother, one of the two.
Yeah.
So he's like the lead actor. So it was a big Home Improvement night for these.
That's amazing.
Anyway, but my experience first time watching Wishmaster is like, the Wes Craven Presents part of it kind of stuck out to me because this was right after Scream.
Mm-hmm.
What's funny about Wishmaster is that it is kind of, so we talk about this where something hits like a Halloween or a Scream, and then about a year or two later, that's when the machine starts to kick in and you start getting like what people think of, because Scream would have come out later in 1997, but that's when you start getting like what people think of like that teen slasher cycle. Wishmaster is this weird kind of caught in like the middle.
It is weird,
where,
right?
Like, it's kind of like those supernatural slashers that came in the 90s, like Candyman, and well, I guess you could even throw like Leprechaun in there as well,
or New Nightmare.
New Nightmare is what is it gonna, so those later Freddy sequels, but like Shocker. But kind of those weird supernatural post like that second cycle of like slasher heyday
100%.
sequels in the 90s. So it's this weird kind of throwback. Uncle Sam, but Jack Frost. But it's this weird kind of like, it had come out after Scream, and it's after Scream, but it's this weird thing that does not mesh well with what was about to overtake theaters when it came to horror.
Yes.
So it was completely out of place. And when I was a kid, what I knew Wes Craven from at that point mainly was Scream. I had not really dove into the New Nightmare on Elm Street stuff. Like, I knew of it, but I was a Scream guy, and that's where I knew Wes Craven and the name from. So I remember kind of expecting something like Scream, and what I got is nothing like Scream. It is a ludicrous supernatural slasher that is got some Clive Barker elements that I would.
There are some Clive Barker.
Yes, and well, what's his the writer wrote Hellraiser, and he's part of Clive Barker's play company.
Part of his cabal.
Yeah, he's part of Peter Atkins. He's a member of the Dog Company, which is a theater group with Clive Barker and Doug Bradley.
Okay, so
they put on he's written novels, but they put on shows, like I think one of them is called like Frankenstein's Lover or something like that. So it's something
that sounds very Clive.
Yes, something amazing like that. But yeah, I did not get Scream. I got something completely different. And when I was a teenager and I was looking for Scream, and I was like all excited for like that type of movie, like, this is lame as hell. Look at this dork.
Yeah, of course.
look at this goofball.
What is this guy doing?
Wishmaster. I liked some of the gore.
Yeah.
But I'm like, this is really stupid.
Yeah.
Now, my second time going around, this movie holds up way better.
It rules. This movie rules.
It is amazingly watchable. I'm not going to defend it as like one of the great. Like, it's not like when we watch like Candyman again, and I think we both went like, oh, well, this is like a classic. Yeah. Like, we need to hold this up as a classic. This is just like, if you want to sit down and watch a gory, funny, goofy 90-minute movie, this is for you.
This is a great party movie.
Yes.
Like, it's a ton of fun for that. Like, the effects are a ton of fun. The kills are ridiculous and over the top and insane. DeVoff is having the time of his life.
We all are with him.
He's great. He knew the assignment.
He understood the assignment. Indeed,
he went for it. It's got a ton of like legitimately fun cameos. Kane and Tony Todd and Ted Raimi and Angus Scrimm is the narrator.
The plot of this movie is so good because it hinges on Ted Raimi living or dying.
Yeah, it's so sweet. Robert Englund's in this. Joe Pilato, Rhodes he's in this. God, there's a ton of different cameos.
Did you name Tony Todd? I think you named Tony Todd.
I did, yep. Rico Ross from Aliens is in it. George Buck Flowers in it, who's been in a ton of stuff. Reggie Bannister's in this.
Yes.
I mean, it's just like, it's kind of an amazing, and they're all playing interesting and fun characters, like even for their brief moments on screen. And of course, Vern Troyer's in this. Can't forget Vern Troyer.
Yeah, this is...
as the little slug creature,
right?
Jin. Yeah.
And the effects. So this is directed by Robert Kurtzman. Before we get into the plot, Robert Kurtzman, of course, is
the K and B.
K and B. Yes, he Evil Dead 2, Night of the Creeps, all sorts of from Dusk Till Dawn. He wrote that, right? So
an incredibly talented.
Yes, and some of the he did. Is Cambia the effects for Walking Dead as well?
Yeah. Nicotero does all that.
Nicotero,
and he directs a bunch of episodes too.
That's right. Yep. So and then the new Creepshow as well. But
I find that these effects guys that have been around a long time do a surprisingly good job of directing these things. Like
Savini with
the Night of the Living Dead remake, which I think is great.
Me too.
This one, Pumpkinhead, Stan Winston directing Pumpkinhead.
Yep.
There's a lot of really solid examples.
With the right type of movie, which Wishmaster, Pumpkinhead, and Night of the Living Dead are.
It's a great fit.
It's a great fit, yes. Exactly. So, and this has some incredible special effects. Like the first 5 to 10 minutes, and then the last stretch.
Opening, like Macedonia or Egypt. What is it? Egypt or is it?
Yes.
Where are we at? Yeah.
Where? Well, you want to get into the plot?
Yeah, let's do it. We might as well.
See if we can jog our memory here.
Yeah.
A narrator. Angus Scrim explains that when God breathed, and just stop me whenever, God breathed life into the universe, the light gave birth to angels, the earth gave birth to man, the fire gave birth to the jinn, creatures condemned to dwell in the void between the worlds.
This shit doesn't work if anybody reads it, but when Angus reads it, I'm in.
The void between the worlds, I would like to visit this, like the liminal space, like the space between times. I would like to visit this someday. I hear about it all the time. It seems like quite the place to be.
I know. There's a lot of cool people running around.
If a person wakes a jinn, they will receive 3 wishes, but the third wish will free legions of jinn on Earth. In 1127, the jinn, Andrew Devoff, asks a Persian emperor, there you go, to make his second wish. When the emperor wishes to see wonders, the jinn uses his powers to torture and mutilate people in the palace. This scene is insane.
It sets the tone.
This is how you kick off a horror movie.
Yes.
Young filmmakers, take note of Wishmaster.
It sets the tone and it tells you exactly what kind of ride you're in for.
Yes.
Because you're basically going to see this again, even more insane.
Right away, like there is a part like where a creature is like coming out of this guy's stomach.
It's so sweet.
And it's like reaching. I'm like, this is awesome.
Yeah. There's a dude that's randomly like part snake, and he's like, help me. It rules, dude. Everything about this sequence rules.
The emperor is horrified, but the jinn tells him to use his third wish to set things right. Before the emperor can make his third wish, Zoroaster, a sorcerer, explains the consequences of the third wish and reveals a fire opal, which pulls the jinn inside and traps.
This buzzkill shows up with a red rock, and he's like, get in there, jinn. I wanted to see what was going to happen when they got the third wish. I want to see their jinn show up and party. I would watch it. I'm sure you would. I would watch the movie where all the jinns just hang out and like screw with Earth.
Yeah. All the jinns, including Jin from Lost.
Yes, of course. Absolutely.
This fire opal plays a big role in the rest of the film.
It does, yes. I would hope that all the other jinn were played by Andrew Devoff as well.
Right, just like he's kind of like Eddie Murphy and the Nutty Professor, just playing all the roles.
Dude, as the Jinn family? Holy shit.
Wishmaster to the Jinn. Can you imagine the Jinn meets the Clumps?
Oh, stop. The crossover I didn't know I wanted until just now.
In present-day America, Raymond Beaumont, Robert Englund, all of these are named after like horror and science fiction writers.
Yes, which is fun too. Englund he's something. I love Englund, right?
He is great in this role because he is. I love the way he plays. How he's just so much more annoyed that they dropped the piece rather than how like being upset that they killed Ted Raimi.
Yes, they didn't care. He didn't care about Ted Raimi.
He's just slightly annoyed.
He keeps mentioning too. He's like, that's where I would have had the statue if it hadn't been broken. It's so sweet. I love Englund because like he basically becomes muted Freddy Krueger in every role he ever plays in horror movies, where he's just kind of like hissing at everybody. Right. And it's so fun. It's so silly.
So he's supervising workers lowering a box containing an antique statue of Ahura Mazda onto a ship. The crane operator, Mickey Torelli, who is played by Mr. Joseph Pilato, is drunk and drops the box, killing Beaumont's assistant, Ed Fidley, played by Ted Raimi, and destroying the statue. Like
his reaction to crushing Ted Raimi is really funny. He kind of goes, "Oh, I goofed." Like, not like, "Oh God, what have I done?" Kind of like, "Oh,
yeah." He's like, gonna get a write up for that.
Whoops.
Ted, of course, kills it in his small role, as always.
Ted's incredible.
A dock worker steals the fire opal from the rubble and pawns it. This is awesome. This is a great bit.
Yeah.
Eventually, the jewel reaches Regal Auctioneers, where Nick Merritt, played by Chris Lemon, instructs appraiser Alexandra Alex Amberson, played by Tammy Loren, who I mentioned was on a stretch of Home Improvement, and that's pretty much about all I recognize her from.
Sure.
To examine it, which wakes the djinn. So, real quick, though, we've talked about some of the side characters. I do have to say this. The leads are not good in this movie.
No, they are not.
This was I think the role originally of Alex Amberson was supposed to go to Dina Meyer.
Of
course, from Starship Troopers fame.
Dina couldn't handle being around Devoff. What's going on?
Okay. I don't have the inside info. Or she got
the chemistry was probably too.
You know what though? She also Starship Troopers was around this time, so there may have been some conflicts.
Yeah.
You can't make a wrong choice.
I like to think that Devoff and Dina had such undeniable chemistry that the audiences would have wanted them to get together as opposed to
The audience's wish would have been for them to get together.
Yes.
Alex sees something inside the jewel and leaves it with her close friend and colleague, Josh Aikman.
Who really wants a date.
Yeah, he's one of our favorite characters, the unbelievably, unstoppably horny male.
Yes.
Like adult male, not even like teenager
like
guy.
Won't calm down.
Like the Adam Arkin.
Yes, your favorite of all.
Yes, like the too horny to function. Like, what does he do throughout his day?
How do you get by?
Hey man, why don't you take care of this before work? Just go.
Yeah, go
take care of it in the bathroom and come out like a normal person.
Jesus.
As he is collecting data, the gem explodes, destroying the lab and releasing the djinn. Josh, wounded, wishes for relief from his physical pain, and the djinn grants him his wish by killing him as you wish. How does he kill him? This is a good kill.
He just kind of like.
Oh wait, some of these kills. So this
doesn't he just kind of like start vomiting blood and twitching? I mean, there's not really much to it.
This is one of those things where, like,
excuse me,
it's one of those classic like later era Freddy movies in some ways where it's a mix of like really sweet kills and a mix of like this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, for sure.
Like we'll get to the Tony Todd kill later and the Cade Hodder kill. Alex, having been informed of Josh's death by Lieutenant Nathanson, played by Rico Ross, tracks the gem to the statue, which she tracks to Beaumont, who sends Alex to visit Wendy Derleth, Jenny O'Hara, a folklore professor, who explains the history of the djinn. Boy, does she, and the nature of the djinn.
She's really good, too.
She is. She has a couple scenes in this.
Yeah.
And it's the second one where she gets to lay it on really thick.
Oh, yeah.
A djinn grants wishes in exchange for souls, but as djinns are demonic in nature, man, djinns is a lot in this Wikipedia summary. In nature, the wishes will be twisted into curses for the djinn's amusement. Later, Alex, this is a plot-heavy movie, learns that the djinn needs to power the gem with human souls and then grant her, the person who originally released him, 3 wishes before he can open the gateway to release his fellow djinn.
I want to mention this. I always like when a slasher villain has strict rules.
Yes.
And they try to stick to them as much as possible. So I appreciate the filmmakers for doing that here. You know, he's got a list of things to take care of. He's got to get some souls by granting some random one-off wishes to people, and he does that throughout the course of the movie. He does a very good job of it. Plus, that means we get to see people get the wishes turned on them. And then he's got to figure out this Alex situation and get those 3 wishes from her. So he's got a very defined goal in mind.
So so I think I'm in the same boat as you. I go back and forth on this because, of course, like the great slasher Michael Myers in the first movie has like no real reason.
Sure.
But like, if you do that in your slasher movie, you run the risk of cribbing off of Michael, like you comparing to Michael Myers if your guy's just like a mindless killer just out there killing people.
Yeah, sure. And they don't all have rules, I should say, but
a lot of them at least have a set, like even Jason, there's a reason for him.
Jason stays, I guess except with the exception of a couple movies, he generally stays in Camp Crystal Lake. So at least there's that kind of like rule to him where that's his stomping grounds.
Yes.
And that's where you have to.
I guess there's no rhyme or reason to what he's doing, but Freddy has a rhyme or reason.
Yeah. Well, even Michael Myers does in a certain sense because he comes out on Halloween's.
Right.
So there's a certain, he does have some rules about him at least.
Fair enough.
That he has to follow. Yeah.
So the djinn. Okay, so we got to get back to the djinn here. 3 wishes. Meanwhile, The djinn takes the form of a dead man and uses the name Nathaniel Demarest. So that's right.
Yes, the djinn finds the corpse, finds the corpse of Andrew Devoff, takes his face off, and then becomes Nathaniel Demarest.
So sweet because he like he wears it.
It's pretty sweet.
And then he becomes Devoff. He becomes Nathaniel
Demarest. He kills the stoner from Can't Hardly Wait. The one who talks about T-shirts.
Yes.
Kills him.
So he goes on, he kills a pharmacist, Reggie Bannister, with the wish of a vengeful vagrant, played by George Buck Flower, and grants sales clerk Ariella wish for eternal beauty by turning her into a mannequin. Yes. So that part is, that's where Nathaniel, that's where his Playboy side comes out.
I'm not knocking Devoff. Devoff's not a bad-looking dude, but, like, I love how, like, anytime he's in full Nathaniel Demarest mode, like any woman he interacts with is like, oh, hello.
Yes,
like,
even when he's saying like shitty thing like your beauty will fade, you know.
Yeah, they're like into him.
Yeah.
They're like, I love it.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, it will. Let's get on it while it's getting good.
Take care of business, yeah.
Searching for Alex, he goes to Nathanson to gain her information. Nathanson refuses to help him, but the djinn grants Nathanson's wish to easily prove a criminal's guilt by having the criminal go on a shooting spree inside the police precinct, and in the chaos, Alex finds Alex's home address and leaves. He next visits Nick, killing a security guard, Kane Hodder, along the way by fusing him into stained glass. When
is that what he does to him?
When the guard says,
doesn't look great.
He'd like to see the djinn go through me. We got to talk about Kane here real quick.
There's some early CG stuff in this movie that's not good.
So he puts him in it's glass. I'm guessing they're calling it stained glass because he's kind of segmented in it, and it kind of looks like stained glass. What we have to talk about, though, is Kane's beard in this movie, because I've never seen anything like it.
It's incredible.
It's kind of a normal beard. It's well trimmed, well manicured, and it's taken care of at the chin and then on the neckline. Yeah. But then he's seemingly shaved the sides, like the sideburns down, kind of like straight. So he's just left with like half a beard and then a patch of skin on both sides.
But like
yeah, so it like you can see like it's kind of cheek too that he shaved. Yeah, it's one of the odder beards I've ever seen in my life. Have you ever seen anybody like this? Could anybody? I don't even know if Kane pulls it off.
If we okay, the next convention that you and I go to together, Kane will be there.
Yes.
Can we ask him?
What were you like? What were you?
Will you like? I can ask the question, but I'm gonna need somebody with me because I feel like. I'm just like,
we have to be careful how we phrase this to him too.
Like we just watched Wishmaster not long ago, and I need to ask you.
Yeah.
Different beard look. What was up with that?
Yeah, was that like your style back then?
Was that what you were rocking back then, or was that done for the movie?
Right.
And he'll probably
be like, "What the hell?"
Throw one of us through a fucking table.
What are you talking about? Yeah. Do you want a picture of me in my Jason X costume?
Shut up, nerd.
Do you want to? And they'll be like, "No, we want you to go back there, shave your beard."
I want you to have the Wishmaster beard. I want an in-costume security guard from Wishmaster.
Alex sees troubling visions every time the djinn grants wishes. Yeah, this has got one of those things though that
it gets old.
I kind of don't like when characters
psychic connections to killers.
No, it's kind of lame.
It's annoying.
She consults Derelith again, but soon realizes that she's talking to the djinn, who has killed Derelith and taken her form. The djinn confronts Alex and offers her 3 wishes. In the spirit of
wishes. How does he say it? It's like wishes, right? He kind of like drags out the wishes. I don't know. I can't do it.
In the spirit of fair play, because that's what the djinn is most concerned with.
He's all about fair play.
Yes, I do like that he's concerned with the rules.
Yes.
Like you said, he offers a free wish. You get a freebie here.
He's all right. He's an all right guy. Right? Mm-hmm. He didn't have to do that.
Just to see... Oh, wait. He offers a free wish just to see what will happen. So he's just like, let's see what she comes up with here.
Let's go.
I'm going to screw her out of it anyway. She wishes for him to shoot himself, but of course he's immortal, and the gunshot fails to harm him. Using the first of her 3 official wishes now, Alex wishes to know what he is.
I'm a djinn.
I guess that makes sense, though, because you have to know what you're dealing with.
She's looking for a weakness.
Yes,
I think.
That makes sense. I'm sure she's done plenty of research. Well, she has a psychic connection with him as well. The djinn teleports her to his hellish world within the gem, which terrifies her as he boasts his evil to her. So his gem is kind of like his genie bottle, right? Kind of like, but it's a hellish world. It's not like Genie from Aladdin, where he's got the big, like the couches and the lights.
Wah, wah, wah. That's it.
You're a big Aladdin fan. You like Aladdin, right?
Do you not like Aladdin?
I like Aladdin a lot.
Oh,
yeah.
cool. Yeah, me too.
It's one. I think it's got one of the best soundtracks, probably.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, I only have one. Aladdin's my number 2.
Disney movie?
Yeah.
Oh, or soundtrack.
Traditional
animated,
hand-drawn, classic animated.
Is your number 1 Jungle Book?
Lion King.
Yeah, Lion King.
OG Lion King is like about as good as it gets.
Yeah.
Yeah. The music, the plot, the characters. It just
I would have to agree.
Yeah, and then it's Aladdin for me.
Yeah. The djinn teleports her to his house. And then she wishes then to it. So she uses her second wish. She wants to get back to her apartment to get out of his lair. The djinn had been threatening Alex's sister Shannon, played by Wendy Benson. So Alex hurries to a party Beaumont invited them to earlier. This is a party too.
It's a rager.
Yeah, it's a rager.
Everybody's there.
It's not as good as it's not what Robert Englund's character wants. He wants like an orgy too.
Oh, Robert Englund's character wants to bone.
He's thrown,
but not traditional bone.
He's thrown this party for the sole purpose of it at some point turning into an orgy, at least a small orgy in some room
where he's the center of attention. Yes. Yes.
The djinn follows again. This guy says Nathaniel Demarest.
Ugh.
And Alex tells Dorman Johnny Valentine, who I believe is an old pro wrestler.
Yeah.
Yes. But also in this movie, played by Tony Todd, to hold the djinn as he is trying to kill her. However, the djinn manipulates Valentine into making a wish to escape his routine life, allowing the djinn to trap Valentine in a Chinese water torture cell, making his way into the party. So it's like a Houdini thing.
Well, he even says Houdini did it in seconds.
What does
so stupid?
What does he say in this movie? My name is Valentine, Johnny Valentine. You remember that when you tell them how you lost your eye. That's what Tony Todd says.
Hell yeah.
Tony Todd making the most, as he always does.
Tony Todd rules.
Yes.
He does. He rules.
So there you go. I think that's the last of our cameos, our kind of Comic-Con cameos.
Yeah, for sure. And look, in a lot of circumstances, under a lot of circumstances, I find this kind of stuff obnoxious. Having, like, genre people cameo and stuff just to be like, look, I have clout.
Right.
I got this person in my movie. I think it can work sometimes. I get tired of, and I'll be honest, I get tired of, like, Zombie doing it sometimes.
Rob Zombie. Yeah.
Because I think sometimes Zombie puts that before finding the right person for the role. Sometimes he likes to stunt cast before he likes to think about like who would actually be good in this part.
Yes.
But for a movie like Wishmaster,
these are all like silly.
They're silly bit parts.
Yes.
They're they're goofy characters. Go for it. Yeah, go nuts.
And they're cool as hell people. Like
yeah, and they picked really cool people to do it. So yeah. It works for me in this movie.
The djinn charms Beaumont who wishes his party would be unforgettable, like we mentioned. What's your most unforgettable party?
Oh man, there's a few for different reasons.
Okay,
not all good reasons. I'm not going to name them all here. I'll name one that you were at. How about this?
Yeah, for sure.
You was a Halloween party, and you came over. You had just gotten off of a shift at the video store. You had to close that
down,
night.
Yeah.
You walked down because we live pretty close. And I think you were like, well, you crashed, I think, at the house because you're like, well, I'll have a couple drinks. I won't have to worry about leaving. And,
That would happen when I was at a party.
Yeah, and I think you just left the car at the video store because to heck with it.
Yeah, I probably had to work the next day.
Probably the next morning, yeah. And I remember you, even though you worked a shift at the video store, you made sure you came over in costume because what you did was you just tucked your polo in. Or no, you pulled your polo out of your jeans. Yeah, you put jeans on. Yeah. And you brought a fake toy gun, and you were like, "I'm Brian O'Connor,
Agent Brian, Special Agent Brian O'Connor."
It was perfect. It was perfect. It was yeah. That was fun. I don't know what I was. What was I dressed as that year? Do you remember what it was?
Okay, so the only costumes I remember, there was a Black Swan costume there, and a Batman costume.
A coworker of ours was from Black Swan.
Were you Jafar that year?
It could have been, yeah.
Oh, very fitting.
Yes,
very fitting for what we're talking about tonight.
One who becomes
Jafar,
a djinn.
or you may have been Casey Jones.
That was probably Casey Jones' year.
I think so.
I was real drunk.
Yes.
And I would have been by the time you got there.
Yes.
Yes. You had to play catch up.
Well, I probably got there at midnight.
Yeah.
So, but that was one of those things where I could catch up very
quickly.
quickly.
You did? Yeah.
And so it was one of those things too where like I showed up, I saw where you were at, and I like
gotta go.
I'm doing this.
Yep. Yeah, I'm gonna be this guy.
I'm doing it
tonight.
It's one of those things.
I just had to close down that video store. Screw this.
Where I'm like, yeah, everybody. I see where everybody else is at. I could get by with where I'm gonna be at as well.
I'm gonna make this happen. Yep. So yeah, it was a good party.
Yeah, I don't.
I ate cheese sticks that night.
I didn't throw it. Now you used to do cheese sticks. You used to do the Applebee's. Was that you that did the Applebee's thing?
No, that's somebody else. But okay. I used to get the giant bulk Costco cheese stick box.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd make those. But I did not eat cheese sticks that night. This was a different night. There was a young lady there who was really drunk, like too drunk, and when you see somebody that drunk, especially for me, a woman that drunk, I get nervous because I don't want her to be in a situation that's not good, And I trusted everybody in the house, but you just don't know. I mean, so I remember I'm like, let's get her some water,
right.
I just want to do the right thing. And whatnot. I was like, hey, let me get you something to eat. What do you want? And I started naming things off and whatnot. And she goes, cheese sticks. I was like, all right, I'll get you cheese sticks. And I made her cheese sticks. And I remember I met her a handful of times after that at different things, and I never learned her name. I never knew her name. I didn't. She came over as a friend of a friend of a friend kind of thing. I never actually got to know her name, and so I was always like cheese sticks, and like she'd always like laugh when she saw me when I called her cheese sticks. Yeah, because I fed her cheese sticks. Yeah, so there you go. This one's for cheese sticks.
So the djinn, so the party's unforgettable.
Yes.
And thus the djinn causes artwork to kill Beaumont. Sorry, that was the part I picked back up. The djinn causes artwork to kill Beaumont.
It sure does.
The guests and security guards called in to help. So this is like when shit hits the fan and it gets cool again.
Yeah.
Eventually the djinn corners the sisters and attempts to scare Alex into making her third wish by trapping Shannon in a burning painting.
Yes. Oh, yes. Can we just talk about some of the fun, gooey stuff that's going on?
Oh,
here,
yeah.
Because I think it's important. This is the showcase. This is where they've set you up with some cool practical effects throughout the course of the movie. And now they can really go nuts because the djinn can do anything. Especially with a wish as broad as, like, I want to kill her party or the craziest party, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And they do some fun stuff. They have this cool, like, weasel thing that twists a guy's face. And he's got this weird twisty face and he's, like, getting vacuumed or something. It's very strange, but it's sweet. We got some piano wire action.
Always good.
Which is always good, yeah. Underrated, the piano wire. We've got statues coming to life and murdering people.
Another thing always good.
Always sweet. I always think of Creepshow 2 when I think of that.
Yeah.
We've got my personal favorite, which is a corpse dangling from the ceiling with this weird, like, flapping tentacle coming out of its chest.
Yeah.
That never really gets explained.
No.
It's just kind of happening in the back. But they like...
You're supposed to think like it's, some
like,
sort of demon has, taken over.
But there's like 7 shots of that. Like they keep closing in on the...
Well, Chris was just really happy with the effect.
He loved it. So he's like, fuck, yeah, edit that shit back in there. Give us another shot of the flappy thing. Yeah.
One other thing I want, there's a 24-minute like making of video that it seems to have come out around the time of the DVD would be my guess.
Yeah, probably.
Because it's one of those like cheaply made ones where they play like 2 minutes of the movie and then they cut to an interview with one of the people.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But Kurtzman talks in the movie. He's like, a lot of people these days, they'll talk about how this reminds me of the elevated genre we get now, but they talk about how they're not making horror, they're making a psychological thriller, and he's like, no, I'm making a horror movie here. So that's what you get in this scene.
I love it.
This is why, I was wanted to bring it up. He wanted to showcase his skills, and he
does.
He does so.
Yep, he does.
Alex wishes that Torelli had not been drunk at work 2 days ago, which the djinn is forced to grant. This seems like a kind of, I don't know, it seems like the djinn should have thought of this loophole.
Yeah, right. It's pretty straightforward. I'm fairly certain this happens in the sequel too.
Yeah.
That the main person just goes like, yeah, I wish that this shit didn't happen.
I wish that a butterfly landed on him at some point, yeah. But this undoes the events that follow the destruction of the statue and traps the djinn in the fire opal again. So yeah, the djinn's kind of the idiot. The now sober Torelli lowers the crate with no problems. Alex visits Josh, now alive again, who notices that Alex seems pleased with herself, though she does not explain why. Inside the jewel on statue Ahura Mazda is the statue of Ahura Mazda. Now in Beaumont's private collection, the djinn sits on a throne waiting to be released.
Yes, and Robert Englund is happy, so that's the important thing. He got a statue.
Yeah, I think that's Robert Englund's character arc here.
Yes, he finally gets what he deserves.
He's the main character.
Yeah, good stuff. I did fail to mention my favorite scene, and I want to mention it before we end our review. The sleazy jewel dealer guy, Nick.
Oh, he is really good at this movie.
Really good. And there's a scene where he wishes for $1 million. He said, I'm not a greedy man. How about $1 million? And they randomly cut to an old lady buying a ticket for a flight.
Yeah.
And, like, anybody with half a brain is like, okay, this is his mom. And she's, like, talking about, like, do you have some? I think the lady at the desk for the airline company is like, you know, who do you have anybody who's your, like, what does she say, like, your beneficiary or something like that? And I'm like, they don't do that before you get on a flight. First of all, did they do this at any time? Like, how fucked up would that be to be like, hey, if this thing goes down. Yeah. You know, like, I think that she sorted this out with her lawyer ahead of time, not with the lady at the United desk. Like, but anyway, she goes, any beneficiary, and she goes, my son Nicholas. And then, like, as if we now have not figured out whose mother this is, she goes, he's an esteemed jewel dealer, don't you know? She, like, says that. Like, that's the line. He's an esteemed jewel dealer. And I was like, holy shit. They really wanted to sell that, like this is the guy's mom, and then they cut to it like stock footage of an airplane taking off of a runway, and then a shitty explosion. It's so sweet. That whole sequence fucking rules. I'm sorry, I had to mention that.
Thank you for bringing that up. There's a really good jaw rip in this movie at one point.
Yes,
I wrote that down.
Yes. That's in the police station siege thing, right? Where the guy goes nuts. Doesn't he grab a cop's jaw and just yeah. There is a very funny scene where she's a basketball coach, where she gives advice that seems way more geared toward the plot of the movie than to any sort of basketball coaching advice. Yeah.
Harry Manfredini did the score.
Oh, sweet.
And it's kind of funny. You can kind of, like, when I found out about it, like, I kind of listened to it, and it kind of sounds like his Jason X score at some points. Kind of what he would end up doing.
Interesting.
And there is some hilarious source music early on. Like,
yeah, there is.
There's like Goo Goo Dolls level ripoff.
Yeah, there's a Pearl Jam ripoff too.
Yes,
where you're like, wait, did they get Pearl Jam for this?
And then it ends with a Lemmy song. It ends with Motorhead, right?
Yeah. Like they blew all the budget on Motorhead. Is what it was. Yeah.
So I just
Lemmy's cocaine budget was too high.
I had to mention those things, and I think we've talked about it all. Final thoughts.
It's amazing.
It's
masterpiece.
So much fun.
Watch this fucking movie.
It's on Tubi now. It is definitely
so sweet. It's also on Freevee. Have you heard of Freevee?
Oh, yeah, I just found out about it this week because it's
what is Freevee?
So Freevee's owned by one of the big companies now too. I want to say is it a Prime? Is it Amazon?
Know.
I don't even know anymore.
I don't know, but it just says Freevee from Amazon.
Yeah, so Freevee's an Amazon thing, but I thought Amazon had IMDb TV as well now too. So I will say this though,
Amazon just buys everything. So
there are a lot of this has kind of been I think a positive offshoot from the cord cutting is there have been a lot of really cool free services that have popped up and
that are under the radar.
And we joke about Tubi a little bit, but I actually really,
Tubi rules.
Tubi's great. And there are certain ones like you can get on Roku or Pluto TV, like they have channels that just show I can't remember the one. Bloody Disgusting had an article for it too. Search it out today, but it's on Friday the 13th. It's got like a Japanese, like the Ring movies are going to be streaming all day. So like that is one of the
rules.
That's one of the good things. Like as we get into the cord cutting and the streaming wars, a lot of people can't afford all of these streaming services, but there are some really neat free ones out there.
Yeah,
too.
there are.
So
yeah,
for sure.
Awesome.
Wishmaster is a ton
it's
of fun.
fun. Yeah.
All right. What do we? It's my.
No, don't ask me. This is your birthday treat to yourself.
So it will be my birthday coming up.
Yes.
I believe, depending on when we record, maybe on my birthday. I don't know. But anyway.
Oh yeah.
It depends on when.
What's your actual day of birth?
25. So it would be usually it would be the day after. But anyway.
Who knows?
This is one of the stars, two of my favorite actors.
Mm.
This is based on a video game. It's on HBO. You can rent it. This is this movie.
I might have it.
I remember being so hyped for it because of.
Do you know what I knew it was already?
Yes.
Like,
I don't even have to say the name of it.
No.
But it's Doom.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's Doom.
100%.
Starring The Rock and Carl Urban, who I was referring to.
I have a piece of artwork that you drew me.
Yeah. We have not done this movie yet.
Some Doom fan artwork.
Here's the thing: is I am not a huge fan of the video game, so you will be getting no like. Did you? I've played.
I don't care
Doom.
about the game.
I played the game.
I played it.
Yeah.
Doom and Doom 2. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I played it, but
I played Doom 3 too.
You are not going to get any sort of in-depth.
No.
This is going to be all about how excited I was in 2005 because of that first-person sequence thing at Comic-Con.
Dude, I'm so jazzed. I can't wait. I think this movie rules.
I think this movie is a lot of fun.
Unironically,
I think
it's
The Rock.
sweet.
I think this is one of my favorite Rock performances.
It's so sweet. Carl Urban kills it too.
Yes.
Yeah. No, this movie rules.
So
I have to check. I might own this movie. I don't know. We'll see.
Okay. If not, you can rent it. And it's on HBO. But as of right now, that will be that. And then we'll be jumping into our Summer of Cronenberg. We're going to lighten things up.
Yeah. Yeah. We have to figure out our lineup soon, and then we'll. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I think we battened out a couple of them, but I want to get some early stuff and some late stuff in too. I think
we'll mix some stuff in,
but we're gonna have some fun before we get to Old Dave.
Yeah, let's celebrate life
with Wishmaster and Doom back to back.
There we go.
Perfect. Horror Movie Yearbook, gmail.com, at HM Yearbook on Twitter, Horror Movie Yearbook on Facebook and Instagram. I think that's it. We're on YouTube, Horror Movie Yearbook.
Yes.
That's it.
Sweet.
Thank you, everybody. Stay safe out there. Stay scared as you wish.